Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SDCC 2013 Watch Dogs panel. Give yourselves a round of applause for standing in line, waiting patiently. No one stabbed anybody else with a pencil. It's a good day at Comic-Con. So I'm really excited to be here. Super excited that I was asked. I've never moderated a panel at Comic-Con before. I'm usually just the talent. I curse a lot and drink, and then I stumble over stuff. So I'm going to try to be an adult today, which is my favorite thing to do, by the way. I'm going to try to be a grown-up today and run this thing. I'm really excited about this game. If you don't know, I've been incredibly lucky to be the presenter for the last 2 years for the Ubisoft games lineup at E3. It's an incredible honor to have been asked. I love video games. I literally crap my pants every single time with excitement, and this year was no exception. And this first year, the Watch Dogs was the IP reveal at last year's E3, and it was pretty insane.
It was intense.
It was pretty insane.
That room was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you don't know this. I'm going to give you a little bit of background on how the guys work at Ubi. I don't know how they work at other places, but at Ubi, or if you're French, Ubisoft, they work in these kind of silos, you know? So if you're working on one game, you rarely see what other guys are developing, right?
Absolutely.
So everybody over there is freaking the F out when they see something unveiled. But at this particular IP reveal last year, it got a standing ovation.
We were hanging up in the corner, just quiet. We knew, of course.
Did you know? Did you really know?
I knew, of course.
You know it was awesome, but did you know how people were going to react?
No idea. No idea. We were excited, but we had no idea it could flop. We had
Yeah,
because sit there like a dead rat on the road, right?
You guys played that piece of that trailer, essentially, that kind of like, you know, it was like a combination of gameplay and this incredibly beautiful, lush filmic trailer. Yeah. And a bunch of really pissy gamers who don't get up when their mom walks into the room all leapt out of their seats. I mean, great. It was insane. And I was so excited for this game last year. I was excited again when we had new stuff to show this year. And then they called and said, do you want to be a part of the game? And then I crapped my pants again. So I'm really excited to be a part of this panel. And I just can't wait to talk about it. And I want to tell you guys one thing. We were expecting to have a security consultant here from Kaspersky Lab, and we were really excited about that. Someone who I was an expert on technology and security. But kind of the game, the art essentially screwed up reality. The consultant was coming from Moscow, and because of recent events with Edward Snowden, his visa was revised or revoked or set on fire and then urinated on. Anyway, he's not here. He's not here with us. So today with us instead is Thomas. How do I pronounce it? Jeffroyd. Thomas Jeffroyd is here. He's the content director for Watch Dogs. And he has joined us in that guy's place. I was supposed to introduce you guys, but we've already been speaking. So next to me also is the lead story designer, Kevin Short. So give it up for both of these guys, responsible for the game. Very exciting.
Yeah, we're pretty excited.
Yeah.
It's very exciting to be at Comic-Con. It's the first time we've ever been speaking here, so I'm really excited.
This is your first time at the con.
I've been before, but this is my first time on this side.
Ooh.
Haven't done this before, so this
very
is exciting.
Yeah. Someone's taking their pants off. So we're gonna talk a little bit about technology, about this game specifically. What I do want to say also is that we had a video we were going to run top of show, and boo, it wasn't working. So is it working now? What? Wait, did you want to run it? Hell yeah, let's run it.
Let's go for it.
Let's do that.
See somebody.
Wee.
In the summer of 2003, the lights went out for 55 million Americans across the Northeast. Panic spread throughout New York State, injuring hundreds. 11 people died in the dark. What was to blame? A small vulnerability inside the state's transmission control room. Raymond Kenny, a disgruntled employee, unleashed a virus and walked away. 4 hours later, the system overloaded and the grid shut down. 10 years on, modern systems have advanced exponentially. 2011 marked the installation of America's first central operating system. CTOS is a computer software that manages entire cities, providing centralized control over subway lines, traffic lights, surveillance cameras, and electricity grids. A computer now controls a major city. But who controls the computer? The answer is private companies that have everything to gain from a CTOS. Personal data collection is the key commodity. You are no longer an individual. You are a data cluster bound to a vast global network. Last year, the average American cast a digital shadow of over 2.3 gigabytes. What does that represent? Of course, there are credit cards, medical records, and reading habits, but a CTOS includes much more. Massive data silos track and sort every moment of your digital life, revealing how you think and what you believe. That information could be turned against you, not just to sell products, but to influence your worldviews. CTOS directly links your personal information to the physical systems you use every day, essentially providing a direct line to your bedroom laptop. Because all data is interconnected, from Nigerian email scams to hardcore pornography, online shopping to emergency services. It's all part of the same network. 10 years ago, one man shut down the entire Northeast from a central control room. Today, everything can be hacked. No one knows what part of the system will be exploited, but everyone agrees the next assault will do more than just turn out the lights.
Let me just say that one thing I think is really interesting about this game, just to kick this off, is I think everybody loves games that where the gameplay is really robust, where it's aggressive. I'm a shooter player. I love shooters. I like to shoot at things, like to murder imaginary things because I can't do it in my real life. And but what I love about this game specifically is that it's a combination of an RPG and a shooter with a really big idea behind it, the idea of personal privacy. And I think that's what imbues this game with so much interest and so much value, is that these stakes are both interesting inside the context of the game, but also interesting in the real world as well.
I agree.
Yeah. So let's talk about that right now, because I think one thing that the government did for Watch Dogs, we can all thank the government for the whole Prism blow up, because
they just handed that right to us.
Yeah,
didn't they?
thanks Obama, you're awesome.
It was one of our most aggressive ad campaigns we've ever done.
Right? You guys spent some money on that one. And so I would just like to just talk about specifically the idea of connectivity and how I think a lot of people dismiss the concept that people know more about them than they do. And I'll give you an example. How many people have an Android phone that operates on the Google operating system? Some of you are lying. Put your hands up. All right. So if you have an Android operating system on your phone, you have Google Now. I don't know if any of you have ever been at your computer and Googled like a movie showtime or directions someplace, and then gotten in your car and your phone's like, hey, it's 45 minutes to that place you wanted to go, and you go, holy shit! Why does my phone know where I was going? And it's because if you have a Gmail account and you use Google, every single device that operates on that operating system knows everything you've ever done since you ever used a computer. So you are your data. You're not a person. You're an accumulation of data points. And I think that's what this game is looking at.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the things we really, when we started the idea, we started with the core idea, what would it be like to control a city? And that was the gameplay part of it, that we were like, this is going to be awesome to be able to control a city. Then we started exploring that and realizing, okay, what that means is you have to centralize data. You have to centralize all this information. And that became something that was pretty exciting, because we had to create that for the game. And as we're creating it for the game, we're realizing we're making these little stories of all these people, the NPCs that we have in our game, and we start realizing, wow, this is really, you could get a lot of information. We're just, as we do research on it, we realize that there's so much that's out there that we don't even realize we've put out there.
Right.
And we can, I think that was one of the things we wanted out of this game, was we wanted to be able to go, hey, people, let's think about this for a second. This is great, and it's exciting that we're moving forward with all this technology. But it's also worth kind of going, hey, what does this mean?
Right, what does it mean?
We've put out I so freely, I just pop in my credit card number and off it goes. I don't even think about it now, but I probably should.
Well, I don't know. I mean, is your credit card number even the most interesting or compelling piece of information about you?
That's
it probably
the least
isn't.
Of my concerns.
Yeah, I think we're all worried about, excuse me, I think we're all worried about, is this website secure? But think about the number of times, first of all, unless you turn it off, there's geolocation on your phone.
Yep.
If you want to use your map app, you can't use it without your phone telling a grid where you are. It's constantly pinging that information back to the grid constantly.
And the whole thing about the security now, it's not only online. Everyone is freaking out about what's happening online, my internet behaviors or whatever I do. But it's much more than that. It's where you go, what you do, what you buy. Everything is stored and everything is placed somewhere. And as we tend to use a single account, like let's say Facebook, like signing with Facebook, everything ends up in the same place. So you leave traces everywhere. And basically they can map everything about what you do, what you think, what you are.
And smart people could infer a lot about who you are as a person based on your daily choices. Like I also know that my phone now, because it's with me all day, it sees that I drive to the same place every day. And so after about a week it said, hey, do you want us to mark that this is your work? And I actually said no. And then a week later it was like, I know this is where you go to work. You go here every day. Why are you lying to your phone? Yeah, exactly. And every day it's like time to work. I'm like, I never told you this is my work. And my phone's like, yeah, you kind of did because you drove here every day for 30 days.
I've gone ahead and done it.
Yeah, exactly.
But when they released Google Now, I basically decided to test it and open the doors at large. And basically, as you said, it's freaking me out all the time. Just for coming today, all the data, all the plannings, everything was on my phone without me asking to do it. But I searched that at the office 3 days ago in Montreal. And every day I'm having surprises. And it's also at targeting, because this is where it began, but it's getting better and better because, let's say, they know I like Asian food, but I like a certain type of Asian food. So it's not pushing anything outside of what I really like and the places I go to, and they know what my friends are having that go to the same place. So everything online and the real life is mixing up, and that's where things are pushing now, and that's basically what Watchdog is about. It's not about a guy behind his desk on a computer. It's about everyone in the street living the life we have every day.
Right, I think that's what's really compelling about, one of the things that's really compelling about this game is that it's not just about the central operating system, it's about individuals in this city and how much information you can find out about an individual person, say by hacking their phone or jumping into their computer. When you cross people in the street, immediately their income pops up, their religion pops up, where they like to eat, who they're dating, whether they like online porn, which is pretty much everybody. It's free. Hello. And so very quickly you can draw a picture that's much bigger. You can extrapolate, right? You can extrapolate assumptions about a person based on a few simple, discrete behaviors. So I want to talk about surveillance. There's the question about whether there is any privacy anymore, because I feel like a lot of people out there probably think they're being private. A lot of people have maybe made their Facebook settings private. Maybe they don't use geolocation on their phone. They've turned it off for their camera. That your phone always says, hey, this app wants to use your location, can it? You say no. You think, I'm pretty much off the grid. Is that true when people do those things?
No, actually, it's not. But we just saw what happened with Prism and the media, so we know that every data is collected in a way or another. The whole thing, and this is the stance of Watchdog, it's not about technology. Technology is not good or bad. Technology is the progress.
It's just a tool.
And people are using it. So some people will do things the right way. Some people will do things the wrong way. And in the game and also in real life, this is what people are going to make out of it. The thing is, it's not only what you input, it's also the face you have. Because basically now CCTV cameras can recognize who you are, follow you, and know exactly what you're doing. Some companies right now are developing softwares that will track you in a mall so that they'll be able to deliver you the best ad based on what you've been doing in the mall before. A little Minority Report like.
Right, and so you walk into the Gap and it says, hello, Mr. Nakamura, how'd you like those flat front chinos?
Exactly, and they know that's exactly what you're basically what you will want is exactly that. And you can push even further. A company called Raytheon, which is one of the largest weapon provider for the United States, is developing a software called Riot. And basically the software can predict only based on your social content, like Facebook, Twitter, whatever. They can say, you'll be at this place, or there are a lot of chances you'll be at this place this day, because this is the pattern we can recognize, and they can get that in a very short time.
Holy Billy.
It's funny though, I don't think it's the kind of thing, like I think you're right, everything you say I absolutely agree with, but it's weird, it's the kind of thing though that, we can't go backwards now.
No.
We can't get away from that. That's kind of where we are, and I think instead of sort of being terrified of this kind of stuff, we really just have to find a way, okay, how do we kind of try to accept it?
I don't want to interrupt you, but I think your point is well put, which is it doesn't matter if you're terrified or not. It's too freaking late.
It's too late, right?
The alien will burst out of your chest.
That's it.
We cannot save you.
You can't go backwards. You can't get away from this stuff. So we just have to find a way. Okay, how do we be as smart as we can about it? in the best way we can. So I don't know what the answer is to that, but
the thing is, privacy and surveillance and all those elements are a very pointed topic that has been discussed for so long. The thing is, a society can live in privacy only if it's equal for everyone.
Yeah.
Either we all have privacy, either nobody has it, and all is fine. But as soon as you've got some kind of a class system with people having this privacy and other people that don't have that, this introduces a lot of problems. And the main question is basically what Watchdog is all about, is who watches those guys?
Right.
Who watch the watchers?
Yeah.
Yeah,
How can we regulate that? So basically doing Watchdog, it was always this idea in the back, can we talk about that?
Right.
Can we
Who
talk
watches
about
the watchmen?
this issue? It's not about being alluded to, not liking technology. It's just, can we ask the question? Can we think all together? And gamers are, tech savvy and moving forward. So we think it's a tremendous platform to do that.
yeah, I think that's, I got to say the one thing, working on the game, it certainly has, it's been one of those experiences where you do a lot of research, you learn a lot of stuff. I got a little tape on my webcam, It's
Yeah,
you start realizing...
Someone could have been watching you this whole time.
When you realize how easy it is to do that, it's like, okay, let's...
Yeah. What I found so compelling about this whole thing with Prism and with the Edward Snowden reveal was that so many people were shocked
That's what,
that the government's been watching. I was like, wait, what? When we know this has been happening this whole time. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I had two... Actually, I had three thoughts. Okay, my first thought was, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing that. And then I thought, of course they're doing that. And then my third thought was, wow, these guys really don't know how to use PowerPoint. Wow. Yeah.
And I think that one thing we have to do is that this is a Faustian bargain, because we don't just use technology like as a casual tool or as an occasional kind of benefit. Every single part of our lives is integrated in technology, and not just your smartphone, but everything runs on technology. And so that brings us back to the game, because Watch Dogs is set in Chicago, which we know, you guys know through your research, is one of the most surveilled cities in the world.
22,000 cameras are used by the city of Chicago to protect their citizens.
That's pretty impressive.
22,000. When we started our game, just before we started our game, we saw the number was at 10,000. We thought, wow, that's shocking. 10,000. What a great that city could be ideal for our world. And then in that time, it's gone up to 22,000. So yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, they were working.
They were working.
And so, because of this, first of all these incredible number of cameras, and also because these cameras have to be run by something, they have to be run on a system, they have to be controlled. The information's not useful unless it's analyzed.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's nothing. It's just a bunch of data unless you can analyze it and break it down. It's run in the game anyway, and I'm assuming maybe in real life, by this central operating system, some kind of a central hub where all the information can be gathered together.
Yeah, exactly. That's something that we, that's an invention of us. So Chicago doesn't actually have a central
I'm sure they do.
operating system. They probably do. Yeah,
Yeah,
they do. People, they do.
Except it's Windows 7, so it doesn't
But
work
they
very
don't.
well. It's always crashing.
So that's where we started with the game. 5 years ago, we had the idea. We wanted new game dynamics for a new way to play, and we thought, wouldn't it be great to control a city? So that's where we started, and that immediately led us to the idea of smart cities. And smart cities, we were hearing about them back then, but they weren't really. You weren't hearing them in the media as much as you are now. Now you hear them about smart cities all the time. So we quickly came up with this idea of a central operating system. And yeah, it's in our game, and this is the concept behind these smart cities. Is that they centralize the control of your power grids, your water, your communications, and which for citizens in general, the idea is it'll help everybody. It'll make your your commute will go faster because the traffic lights are perfectly timed. Hydro's more efficient, so your bills go down. Communication should be better. You get free Wi-Fi. So those sorts of things are supposed to be what comes of that. And so I think there is a plus to it. But of course, the negative is it's just tempting, right, for people to be like, okay, well, it's all centralized there. If we could get into that, that's a lot of information for one individual.
Right.
Like Aiden Pierce.
Like Aiden Pierce. Aiden Pierce, the hacker in the game. Before we get deeper, before we drill down into that, I think there's something else that's interesting about that, because I feel like you were very gentle. You're a gentle lover when you said that. Well, this is a made-up thing, but I think this is obviously already happening. Cities are obviously already running on central operating infrastructure.
They definitely are, yeah.
It is happening. Basically, London is one of those cities, and the Olympics are usually bringing with them those approach of smart cities. So there are more than 4,000 cameras in London right now, and many systems.
Well, they need to catch up to Chicago, lazy Brits.
And Rio de Janeiro is getting the same treatment, and we see the major companies, Cisco, GE, IBM, investing a lot of money in developing the concept, financing chairs in Harvard and MIT, just to push that. And that's really great, because it's better for everyone. We tend to be more urban all the time. We live in cities and more. So we have to optimize that, like all the rest, because it's good for the ecology, it's good for many, many things. And the concept can go even further. There is a city in South Korea called Sangdo, and basically they invested $25 billion, if I remember well. And from scratch, they call that an ubiquitous city.
Ubiquitous city?
So basically the key you have for your home is an RFID. And whatever you do in the city, you only use this key. You pay stuff, you drive your car,
I
you
like that, though.
get popcorn, but you don't want to lose your key.
I like that so badly.
You don't want to use the key.
No, you don't lose your key. Well, but you don't lose your key because you have it embedded in your hip.
Yeah.
Like this is born.
But basically, they're starting to have those ideas. So Sangdo is an experiment, and I don't know if it's going well. But we're getting there, and for the better. I think there are many great things about having those smart cities helping us, being better at where we live.
But it's a surrender, because again, you're giving up, you're gaining convenience, and obviously you're surrendering privacy. I mean, the RFID chips, now they have these RFID scanners where they can walk right by your wallet and just literally pick up all your credit card information by walking by you on the street.
I recently got a little Nexus card.
Yeah.
Which is one of these cards that the U.S. government and the Canadian government put out so that I can cross the border now much more freely. They checked me and all that, but they give it a special slot, and they say, put it in here, because it's very easy to just walk by, somebody scans
I
it,
have an RFID blocking wallet made out of metal. I wear right here in case somebody tries to either steal it or shoot me. Like, bam.
But the best way to prevent that from happening is just stacking audio cards together.
Because then they can't
as soon as you stack them, you cannot read one individually.
Thomas has all the secrets.
Very cool. So one thing I love about science fiction is that great science fiction is predictive, right? So people always want to dismiss science fiction as kind of like fluff and fantasy, but great science fiction is based on real science, and it's extractive fiction, right? This is happening now. So what's it going to be like in 5 or 10 years or 20 years or 100 years? And some of the best science fiction, if you look back at stuff that was written in the 50s and 60s, all of that stuff has happened and more. Right. If you showed an iPhone to somebody, even in 1985, when everybody was walking around the phone like, hello, I remember the first cell phones, and they were like a giant suitcase.
That's right.
Yeah, you were like, look at that guy, his phone weighs 30 pounds.
How cool is he?
Yeah, he's on fire. That anything we're doing now seems incredibly advanced. So this game may feel futuristic to people, but really, this is probably, if it's not all happening now, it's about to happen very soon, and probably better.
Yeah, for sure. When we started, we wanted to make sure that everything we're proposing in the game is grounded in reality. That was important to us. But some of it was more theoretical. It's like, oh, this could happen in theory, and so we were kind of pushing it, but we didn't always see concrete examples, but we went for it, and so it always felt like we were dealing with near future. The very beginning of this game, it felt like we were dealing with near future. But over the last 5 years, it's been amazing just watching how our near future game has suddenly become a very present, current game. One example, we early on we decided, okay, we want our guy Aiden Pierce to be able to hack into a train with his phone, and be able to stop it with his phone, which was. Theoretically, it was possible, but we hadn't really seen anything that said, yeah, that's been done, and now we've seen examples of that. It's the things you can do with your phone, which at first seemed pushing it, is now, I think it's becoming more and more possible.
And it is, and many things we're showing in the game are going to be revealed in a couple of weeks, as Reality's DEF CON this year has several panels, especially one where they're going to introduce, it's a combination of software and hardware. It costs less than $500. Project is called Creepy Doll, And basically, Creepy Doll does exactly what the cell phone of Aiden does.
Creepy Doll?
That's the name of the
great
software.
name.
I feel afraid.
And you can, because this is only off-the-shelf component, so anyone can build one.
Oh my God!
And it's super easy to make, and it'll be disclosed in a week at Black Hat in Vegas.
Tell us more. Tell us more.
I'm totally riveted.
I can't.
I'm riveted, and I also feel
can't.
kooky.
But and those are guys that are specialized in cyber warfare. Actually, that are basically doing those projects and sharing them. Last year, they did something they called the F-bomb, which was basically an object you could hide or basically throw, and that could sniff any Wi-Fi network and basically send all the data encrypted to the owner of the F-bomb. And you can build those for $70 of the shell's component. So there is this whole realm of hardware mixed with software that is today's reality, and you can do anything about it. I built an F-bomb, and basically this is the size of a phone in the end. So you can hide that in a plant or in a pizza box and get anywhere you want. So the reality of what we're showing is basically there all the time. It's just we tend not to care.
Right.
Because it's so practical to have those smartphones. They occupy in our life. We've been told it's dangerous or there is a risk, but we agree not to care.
Right. It's a calculated risk. Yeah.
And
well, the advantages it gives us too, the convenience of that phone is so tempting. It's hard to not want to have it with you all the time.
Absolutely.
Regardless of the consequences.
And we hope.
Risks.
And we hope that with Watchdog, people will just realize a little more and just ask the question: Do I want all this?
Right.
Or if I want it, what are the risks I'm taking? And in a society where privacy is not for everyone, what can I do to make it, more global?
Well, we have an NPC unveil, but before we do that, I just want to talk about that one more time, because one of the great things about this game when you play Aiden Pierce is that you're able to hack essentially anybody, anywhere. Once you've hacked into the central operating system, you pretty much have something akin to unlimited control of the city of Chicago, which is insanely badass. And you can manipulate central systems, the trains, the lights, the cops. And you can also, hack individuals and take their money.
You can take their money. You can get details on them. I think this is one of the things that, for me, I really think helps differentiate Watch Dogs from other games. Where in other games you see a lot of NPCs, a lot of characters wandering around, and they fill your world and make it feel like it's alive. But Pierce has this profiler. And with this profiler, he can pick up details, individual details, name, occupation, and interesting facts. And we had to create all that information. We wrote a giant database of all this information that you could find, and it's sort of the system kind of just sends it out, so that when you're scanning, what Chicago is about almost 3 million people, right? So we had to create the illusion that you're in a city of 3 million people. So that means you've got all these profiles that are giving you all this information. And what ends up happening is that you're looking at these people and you realize they start to feel like they've got a life. They're more than just these blank NPCs. And now you can also hack into their phone calls. And now on top of the information that I'm reading about them, I'm also hearing a phone conversation which really personalizes them. And it affects you. We found that it affects you. I remember I was playing the game one time and I was trying to take out this gang member, a bunch of gang members, and I came up and snuck up behind one guy. It was just a regular NPC, and I had the profiler on, and I was ready, and I was aiming, and suddenly his profiler came up and it said newlywed, and I was like, oh, he's a newlywed.
Yeah.
And then I killed him.
Oh, dead inside.
But honest to God, I mean, I'm the one who wrote the newlywed line, and it still hit me, and it still affected me. It's still, So I think that's one thing that I think is particularly cool for players. They're gonna have a vested interest in the people around them.
And I think that's what when you have really great gameplay, when you have a well-written game. Look, there's a million games you can play. And what has made kind of this latest generation of games and what's going to happen with the next-gen consoles and the next-gen engines so exciting is that the NPC world is so much richer, so much more robust. I play games, look, who here played Walking Dead for the iPad? Sorry, I know it's not your game, but I just want to make a point. Who played that game? Who cried? Who cried like a little bitch? Right? When's the last time a game made you cry? That's where we are right now, where it's great gameplay, it's robust, it's engaging. That's what Watch Dogs did, but you care about the characters, you get invested in the results.
And this is another effect of having this touch on the life, is that you make moral decisions on a micro basis, like you do in real life. It's not about those long-term decision. Am I going to save the world or ruin the world? It's just every time you do something. We were in focus groups a while ago, and there was this guy who spent 7 minutes because he wanted to hack the right person to steal money.
Right, he didn't want to take it from a good person.
No, not this one, not this one. So we started wondering around, so like, get the money, buy the gun.
Take it.
I want the bad guy.
Yeah.
So, and this is what makes the investment in the game really strong when you play it as an experience,
well,
a
it helps,
hands-on experience.
I think it helps reinforce, what's going on in our real lives. There's real people behind all this data, and that's what I think is great about the game. It's sort of reminding us of that.
Right. Well, we're gonna show a brand new NPC from the game.
Yes.
I know that when I play video games, great AI and great NPCs make for a better gaming experience. And so we have a very special new NPC that we created for Watch Dogs. She's super foxy.
She's awesome.
So apparently someone's invented a pill for your passwords. Have you heard of this?
This is crazy. You swallow this chip and it authenticates whoever you are for whatever account needs your password. Can you imagine? I can't even get my head around this. It's like, what if I forgot the pill and I'm just locked out of my entire digital life? And get this, it only lasts a day. So apparently you poop it out or something, and then you have to take another one the next day. I mean, how is this a viable solution to multiple passwords? Are we just so off stuff in tech right now that we're losing our minds?
Oh, we didn't tell you about that? I thought you knew about that.
I thought I was going to save Aiden Pierce in Chicago.
Oh, no, that was changed. I thought you got that note.
That guy's
No.
a dick. So when you're thinking of these characters, we just talked about this a little bit about Bill. I always feel like when you're playing a great game and the AI is great, and it's funny and it's engaging, it really enriches the experience. And sometimes you don't realize it till you're done with the game, you finish your campaign or whatever you've been doing, or you move into multiplayer and you're like, God, I really loved all that funny AI, and my friend's not nearly as funny as what the guys wrote. Sometimes they're funnier, but sometimes the AI is amazing. You don't think about how much writing you have to do and how you've got to really differentiate all these guys. So how do you approach writing these characters? That's got to be like a huge pile of work.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I do not do it by myself. I have a team of writers. We sort of take the writers' room approach because there's a lot of stuff to cover. We've got just our main characters like Aiden Pierce and all the other characters, but then all these NPCs, and we ended up drawing like. All those little phone conversations that you're able to hack into, you can't repeat them. You hear it once, that's it.
Yeah.
It's done. It's burned for the game.
Right.
And we ended up drawing on our own experiences and just any ideas that we heard around. And it became this kind of cool thing because it's like you're making little haikus. You know, you have to have some little story that every conversation has to be interesting on some level and pull you in on some level, on some human level. And yet we're only doing it for like about 30 seconds at most.
Right.
So that was it was a lot of fun to write. I think the results. You can easily spend a long time just wandering the street, not even playing your core game. You're just wandering and just checking out people and listening to their phones.
Let's talk about that, because this is open world. There's a campaign, but there's a million side quests, and you can make side quests. You can essentially generate any side quest you want. A lot of times you'll be walking around in Chicago and you'll see someone, your profiler will hack that person, and then you'll be told something bad might be about to happen.
Yeah.
And you can decide whether you want to save this person, rob this person, let this person die.
Yeah, we've got, you could hack somebody and, I'll give you an example. You could hack somebody and you realize this guy is texting his friend, he's freaking out because his wife, he says his wife has been attacked, right? And so he wants to get the guy who did it, and he's determined to get the guy who did it. And then they end the call and boom, you get a marker that tells you, okay, this incident could happen here. And you go to this spot to try and stop it. So when you arrive there, and we had a debate, this is an actual event that happens in the game, and I had a debate with the creative director, because he arrived and he profiled the guy, and sure enough, the guy was a recidivist rapist. So it's like, okay, this guy has done this before, he's a bad guy, and he's going up, and the husband, whose wife was attacked, is coming to get him, and he's going to kill him. He's going to kill this guy who he thinks attacked his wife. And John, the creative director, was like, I'm going to let him do it. I'm not going to step in. I'm going to let him kill this guy who attacked his wife because he deserves it. And I said, I can't do that. I said, we're basing this off of a text. I don't know if he did it. I don't know if he's just making that up and the guy owed him money. And so I couldn't do it. And we thought, we loved it because we were like, that's the conversation we want. That's what we want you doing. We want you thinking, do I want to step in? Do I not?
Right, which feels like a real world experience. I mean, there are these ethical dilemmas throughout the game.
It doesn't become mechanical.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. It's not where you're just on a campaign. This is the quest. This is the quest.
Right.
This is the level. You level up, and then at the end, boss fight, boss fight, boss fight.
And like you say, that's just stuff in the free roam
That's
game.
just all the open world
not
stuff.
Mission stuff at all.
And so it had to have been a difficult game to develop when you needed that much complexity in an open world environment.
5 years.
Yeah, 5 years developing this game.
It took us a while to pull this together. Yeah, and a big team. We had several studios beyond just Montreal helping us pull this together.
The other cool thing about the open world component of this is that all the choices you make affect the way the world treats you. So if you make a bunch of positive choices, the world treats you one way. If you make a bunch of negative choices, the world treats you a different way, and that affects how you move through the central campaign and just how everything occurs around you.
Yeah, and for us we wanted to make sure it didn't turn into you're the black Aiden Pierce and you're the white Aiden Pierce.
I would be the black Aiden Pierce.
And we wanted to make sure that it was more shades of gray. It's more how the audience reflecting back on you, or sorry, not the audience, but the citizens reflecting back on you. So if you're a good guy, they may if you break into a car, they might say, don't worry, I'm not going to call the cops. You just get out of here. The media will report more on you, and not be so they won't be so hard on you. Whereas if you make bad choices, you're driving over people, you get a negative reputation, people may be quicker to call the cops.
Right. That's the other cool thing about this game. So there's all the RPG components, this open world environment, and then there's just good old fashioned driving and shooting,
Of course,
which is amazing. Yeah, I mean, and this can turn into a real kind of like, for lack of a better example, GTA style rip 'em up. I mean, you can just be driving your car all over and shooting people like crazy and going bananas if you want to.
Shooting people, but at the same time, shooting people and hacking at the same time, which is what we really like, is you can combine those things, right? So yes, you can hack, but you can combine hacking with shooting, with driving, and it makes for a pretty full, rich experience.
I think it's pretty much all the things people love about games.
And that's exactly this mix of basically hacking and doing many things. You experiment with all the elements. So it's not just one tool. It's a combination of tool, and the city becomes the tool itself.
Right.
So you can drive, open something, change the light, and really experiment with everything around.
Right, and there's a great sequence in the demo where you're chasing a bad guy, and then we've seen it. Like, we did it on TV. So you chase a bad guy, and then he's getting away, and you can like literally hack the central operating system to throw up like a road barricade, and like it flips his car over.
Yeah.
So you've got all these other tools at your exposure, at your disposal. Other than just running and shooting and driving. There's just a million things you can do in this game.
Yeah, and you know what? This is where we're particularly excited to see when you guys get the game in your hands, because you can hack all these things, the roadblocks, the traffic lights. We've shown how you can use traffic lights to stop a car, and then you get the guy. You stopped it, and there's your guy, right? But you can use it in other ways. You could be in a firefight, and you have no cover around, so you suddenly cause a traffic light accident, bam, cars crash, there's your cover. So you can use that. So what we're particularly excited about is when you guys get your hands on it, and the combinations of hacks that you guys do and start posting online, because we don't know, we know what things you can do, but it's always exciting to see when players get it in their hands and they come up with brand new ideas that we hadn't even thought of.
Great new ways to solve problems.
Yeah.
I mean, you can black the city out if the cops are after you. It's incredible. I want to we're going to open it up to the floor for some questions, and people are going to line up at the microphone. And while they're doing that, I'm going to ask one question, and we have 3 Twitter questions. The last thing is, we've talked about how futuristic this game is.
Yes.
What do you think you guys have done in the game? Like, what specific item or element, technological element, have you guys developed for the game that you think might actually spill back out into the real world? We talked about it, I guess, already. This spooky doll thing, the creepy doll.
The creepy doll and many elements. Basically, I think it's bleeding both ways. And that's what is amazing. It's not elements from the game getting into reality. It's just things we thought could happen are happening right now.
And this guy hacks everything with a handheld device, and that seems like
Absolutely.
That's pretty much already happening.
And this is a tendency of, I wouldn't say hacking, but a tendency of misbehavior
Right.
On internet is not, those very techie guys that learn Unix and the real one.
Right.
It's mostly, I think it's 95% of the attacks are made by people just using an application.
Right.
So there is a democratization of,
Yeah.
a lot more people doing bad things just because someone developed an app for that.
Right. Yeah. And freeware on the internet. Well, I want to make sure we let's just jump straight to the live questions that I'll intersperse the Twitter questions. So go, king of whatever it is that you're king of.
Milo Pony, it's great.
Awesome.
Milo Pony, brilliant here. I'd love to say thank you so much for putting so much effort on Watch Dogs. After 5 years of development, and I'm thinking it's going to be a great game to play.
Thank you.
My question is related to the question. I love how you show off the NPCs of how highly advanced they are for interacting with a player and other streets in public. How difficult was it to develop these NPCs with a higher advance of technology?
Yeah, we had to put a lot of work into it. We wanted them to come alive. So obviously, I already talked about the profiling, but then there's also just making sure. We went to Chicago, right? We did a lot of research in Chicago, so we went there and recorded all our voices there for the NPCs, which makes sense. We're not going to try it in Montreal with people up there. We wanted the authentic voice.
On the street in Chicago sounding like Thomas?
Yeah, exactly.
Welcome to Chicago.
That's not going to work. But I would say for sure we gave them a lot more reactions than we had before. So they respond to your actions in a huge variety of ways. You did some of those sessions. This is the third video game I've done voice work for. So, and because I play, when I get in there, I know all the stuff I usually have to do. I got like 50 noises for jumping off a bridge, 50 noises for getting hit by a car, 50 noises for getting stealth attacked from behind. You know what I mean? It's just, all your death battles. Exactly. But there was an incredible amount of complexity here and a lot of tonal differences because this is open world, if Aiden's been a nice guy, I have a whole set of conversations with him for that. If he's being a dick, I have a whole set of conversations for that. So it was just much more layered and much more robust, I think, than any of the other games I've ever recorded for. I think it also went beyond to our animation director. The animation, they did a lot of detail. You'll see it, and just how specific they get, tripping and, passing drinks to other people. It's pretty impressive, how far they've gone. You can see it in some of the demos and stuff we haven't even shown you yet. I think it's going to blow your mind.
Including the part when they look at you and they start contacting the police to come after you. Amazing job on that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm getting it for PS4.
Nice.
Yay!
Nice.
Don't rep a box, rep a lifestyle. All right. That's okay. Go back to ruling your realm, my friend. Who's next?
I was downstairs for the Watch Dogs demo that you guys had at the booth down there on the floor, and we got to see a bit of a multiplayer footage. And the main character gets hacked at one point, and he tries to stop that. So I was wondering, what are the negative consequences of getting hacked?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the cool thing, what he's talking about there, is you can be playing your single-player experience, roaming along, just free roaming the city, and suddenly you can get hacked by another player who has seamlessly entered your game. He's just snuck in, and he's tried to hack into you and drop basically a backdoor into your phone. So what he's trying to do is he's trying to take advantage of all the things that you've done, all the skills, the perks that you've earned so far. He's trying to take advantage of that and benefit from that. He's not trying to steal it per se. Like, he's not trying to erase it from your system. So you as the player aren't going to lose it. But hell, you don't want him, taking something that you've worked hard on, and he's just going to benefit from it. So it encourages players to be like, okay, I'm going to shut this guy down. But that's basically what it is. Once we actually show more of this, and you guys, we'll get into precisely what those things are. But that's basically it. You're benefiting from the perks that the other players already earned throughout the game.
And you can stop him by blocking his hack, or you can stop him by chasing him down physically and slapping him about the face and shoulders. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to resolve that conflict in the game.
Well, exactly. And if you miss him and he gets away, you're able to track him. You open up your grid, and you're like, I know where you are. Yeah. And you go into his game, and he can't see you. What's cool is, you don't end up with a whole bunch of Aiden Pierces all around, because if I go into your game, I just look like a regular Chicago citizen to you, so you can't pick me out.
Thank you. It gave me a very Dark Souls feel, and I just wanted to know more about it.
Pardon me?
It's kind of like the invasion aspect of the Souls games, and I was just wondering what the... You know,
okay, yeah.
Cool. Thanks for speaking. While you rest there, looking handsome, while I throw out a titter question. That's not a thing, and then we'll come back to you. So, all of these questions are kind of similar. So, I just want to ask, based on your experiences researching this game, is there any way for people to protect their own data and metadata? Is there any way to opt out?
No. It's as simple as that. I don't think on the user side we can do much. We can limit things, but you cannot be sure about that. So that's why working, with the EFF or trying to find solutions at another level of controlling and watching the watchers and making sure that the data is safe and there is a body, governmental body, or something making sure that it's not used in a bad way to be set up, because we won't stop using those technologies. So we have to make sure that whatever happens is in the right hands and not in the bad ones.
Right. All right, handsome guy in the blue hat.
Thank you. As I think we all know, Ubisoft has some pretty notorious DRM policies. And I'd like to ask you, do you know what the policy, is it going to be the same, especially for the PC, is it going to be the same always online, pass, DRM? And if it is, how do you feel about the somewhat ironic, somewhat hypocritical idea that this game has this really tight DRM on a game that's supposed to be about how bad controlling information is?
No, I think, I think it's important for us to... this is a game you can play offline. You want to play offline, you play offline. All right? Simple as that. Not going to get confusing on that. It's like, we talk about this game being... everything is connected, connection is power. That's our credo. That's the main thing for, we feel like there's a lot of benefits to that in the game, in your single-player experience. But also, we really love the idea of players connecting, and we are definitely encouraging that. We want players to enjoy that. But if you don't want it, you don't want
to be on the grid.
You turn it off. You grab your Wi-Fi cable. You disconnect your Wi-Fi. You pull out your cables, whatever it is. Cut them in half. Guarantee you can play offline.
Good to hear.
Are we out of time? Oh, boo. Well, all I'll say is one of the things, this is like a combination of everything. I live in a video game.
Me too, me too.
It's the best. Shooting and learning and role-playing and hacking.
Spying on people.
Spying on people. It looks amazing. I've played it. It is amazing. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. And there's more to come, for sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Oh, wait a second. We have a trailer. We have one last piece of video. Sit back down.
Don't you move.
Give me 4 seconds and a clear signal. I'll get in, and you'll never know. But I want you to know. You're not anonymous. I've seen your kind before. Mistakes, hurt people I love. All because of men like you. untouchable. I'm here to shatter your illusions.